Hi everyone, happy Friday, happy Valentine's Day if you celebrated. Very quickly, I'm sorry for the glasses. I am aware that you can see the reflection from my computer, but I had a lot of work this week and I'm very tired and I really need them to see right now and to read especially. I don't particularly celebrate Valentine's Day, I've never had, apart from one thing or another in preschool, for example. But I would very much like to share with you some knowledge that I compiled in the previous days regarding Saint Valentine, Valentine's Day, and the pagan traditions that are the initiation of this holiday. Now, the first thing that you need to know is that the Roman Catholic Church, or the Christian Church, recognizes three Saint Valentines or Valentinus, and all of them were martyrs. So it is most likely that he or any version of the legend existed, because there are records on some parts of the legend being true. And legends, there are a couple of them, and one thing that I would like to tell you and to highlight, is that they all share three main, I would say, characteristics. The first one is the era. So they are mostly happening around 270 after Christ. Then the area. So they're all in Rome, or in what we now know as Italy, but more closely to Rome, the city. And third and last is that they all share the same emperor. So all of these legends have Claudius II as the emperor of Rome at that time. All of the legends also have Valentine as a martyr. The first one would have him as a priest and as a physician that was persecuted when Claudius started persecuting Christians. And it is also said in that legend that he was incarcerated and he shared, or he exchanged, love letters between himself and his jailer's daughter. Other versions, and I think one that, at least for me, is most well known, is that Valentine was a priest, a bishop of Terni in Italy, in today's Italy, and he was incarcerated because, and here is a small side note, around this time Claudius decided that young single men were better fighters, better soldiers than young married men. So he issued a decree to outlaw the marriage of young men. So basically what Valentine did, and why he's considered as a saint connected to love and connected to romance and relationships and marriage, is that he would secretly marry young couples. In a way, both to, first of all, marry them, and second of all, to spare the young man, the young husband, from going to war. Now, this was, of course, against Claudius' commands, and this version has Valentine being incarcerated and then executed precisely because of that. Now, it is also said that when he was buried, where his grave is or was, that the Pope Julius I, he erected a basilica in that place to mark Valentine's grave. All of this is highly unknown, and nothing we can say that happened in 270 we can say with certainty, apart from one thing or another. But there are records on this happening, and the legend persists, and there are historical happenings that really corroborate this happening. Now, in the pagan tradition, there was a very interesting festival that I will 1000% mispronounce, which is the Lupercalia. And this festival, Lupercalia, was Christianized to what we now have as St. Valentine's Day. So, at the beginning of this festival, the members of the Luperci, or the Luperci, a Roman order of priests, would gather in the sacred cave where it was thought that Romulus and Remus, which are, of course, the famous twins that founded Rome, when it was thought that they were cared for by a she-wolf, and they would, among other things, they would sacrifice a goat for fertility and a dog for purification. Later, the priests would strip the goat's hide and drip them in its sacrificial blood, and take that to the streets, gently slapping women and crops in their surroundings. I don't know about you, but if I were to be slapped by a priest with a hide of a goat that was dripping in its own blood, I wouldn't be very happy. I wouldn't be feeling very happy or thank God that happened to me. But Roman women at the time were, because most of the times they thought, oh, this means that I'm gonna get married, that I'm gonna start a family, that I'm gonna finally conquer or fulfill my purpose, which was, of course, to give the next generation. Then there was a ceremony, and this is the thing that I find most interesting, was that single women would write down their names and would put them all in a big urn. And then all of the eligible bachelors of the same age, of course, they would select a name. So it was a sorting. Then a couple was made, was formed, and they would be a couple for a year, throughout a whole of the year. And most of the times, those couplings would often end in marriage. Now, when Europe was mostly Christian, Lupercalia did survive the Christian culture and the Christian civilization. However, this festivity, as it was most things pagan, most things Roman, most things not Christian, was outlawed. However, during the Middle Ages, and most importantly in England and in France, February the 14th, which is of course now what we recognize as St. Valentine's Day, was believed to be the beginning of birds mating season. So, birds mating season, the spring starts to come in. It is time of love, and it was time of love in the medieval ages. And this added to the idea of our more modern romance. In the Middle Ages, Valentine greetings were popular, although writing Valentines did not begin until 1400. The oldest known Valentine still exists today, and it's an incredible example of preservation, of course. It was written by the Duke of Orleans, Charles, to his wife, to his second wife, Bona of Armagnac, while imprisoned in the Tower of London in 1415. Years later, Henry V, who was rather bewitched by his wife, hired a composer to write Catherine of Valois a Valentine note. And so in England and in France are where we can find the oldest facts and the oldest examples of people writing Valentines and that being common. So it's pretty much it. I chose to stop at the Middle Ages because it's the part of history that interests me the most, and also because I think it's an area or a time that most people don't think is very similar to ours, but in some things you can definitely, if you study social behavior in in medieval ages, I think you can really see a correlation. I hope the video is to your liking. I wanted to, again, I'm very tired from a very busy week, so I just wanted to do something more fluent and more informal. So I hope you like it. I would like very much from the bottom of my heart to thank everyone that is new here. And one thing that would very much help me, if you were to comment some feedback or comment some ideas, because sometimes I have no idea what I'm gonna do next. So I will try to upload on Sunday, and I really hope you like it. Happy Valentines.